All right, y'all. Top of the morning to you. Hope everybody's had a good day today. Get a chance to look at that Jackie O video, ladies. I know that looks are important, but they're not so important where you may have to put your life at risk going under the knife. Okay, and yes, that is idolatry if you dwell too much on that. But let's talk about here the debt ceiling. The House and the Senate over the last 2 days was able to pass this debt ceiling. And right now, as we speak, President Joe Biden is getting ready to, or already has signed off on this debt ceiling. Now, uh, this debt ceiling, what it does is it raises up like a credit limit that America has, and there's $4 trillion is added to the debt ceiling. Okay, from this deal. Okay, that uh, Congress has made. So the debt limit will go up from 31.5 trillion to 35.5 trillion dollars. Okay, and that will carry on until January 2025. So I know a lot of people on both sides, even within like the House of Representatives and the Senate, are not happy with this deal. But I guess there's certain things within this deal that I guess everybody had to kind of come in terms with. Okay, um, and it's one of the things that they had to work together because it's all political from this point. So whatever assumption that you have, even if that you are in the know about this debt, the debt ceiling, and your feelings on it, okay, the facts or no facts. Again, if it's all political, if you have 77, 78 million people that rely on things like Social Security, government checks, military, uh, veterans benefits, and all that, okay, if they miss one check, then they're not going to get reelected. Many of those, probably at least a good 2/3 or 3/4 of those politicians, they're going to be out of office. And that's what it's all about, okay? Because they need your vote. They need your vote so they can keep a job. Now, some politicians do, but very, very few. But again, that's what it's really all about. Covering CYA, as they say, covering their own behinds as well as their families. You know what I'm saying? So it's what it is. Some of the other details in it are, I don't know, cap spending that they claim, all right, to where the cap spending is alleged to add more to the debt, okay, because they have to come out with things like unemployment programs and so forth, all right, if uh, I don't know, the feds and all that, the Fed bank are projecting that they're going to lose jobs, okay, coming up very soon at the late in the summer. So it's kind of one of the things where when you spend, it's kind of like you got to keep spending because that's how far out of control that this spending has gotten. You know, some years back when I was in the military, there was a major that said when the war was going on, when I was in, and that at the time, that you would think that a lot of the spending and all that, where the deficit was going up around 2004 over the war. And some of that's true. Um, but a lot of the money that Congress complains about if it's too much spending, okay, or they're doing it themselves. A lot of it has to do with congressional spending themselves. Some of that, again, this was in 2004. Now, at that time, President George Bush Jr. had came out with the Medicare B and didn't raise the taxes. And that's one of the factors why, at the time, the deficit went up so much, okay, back then. But a lot of this has to do now, okay, with, and again, the war back then had something to do with that, but the war was only at the time was 20% of the deficit, but mainly it was congressional spending. Okay, even the people, like as far as in college loans and let's see what else, medical bills, and that has something to do with it. But majority of the spending was from Congress. Now it's defense and congressional spending, which results in about, from what I understand, 60-65% of why the government is going broke. Well, already went broke, but the we have the deficit so high right now. Okay, but there's more money spent in defense now than it was like 20 years ago on stuff we don't need, like space programs and giving Ukraine all those different equipment, say like F-16 and other like armor type stuff. All right, but we have a lot of campaigns all over the country. What I understand is like 240 countries. Okay, so money has to be spent to maintain all those different, bases and so forth. In closing, I want to bring you up something that I think that was very, very interesting. And I may say this again in another video. When I took this archaeological class at UNLV some years back, this professor says something very, very interesting. Okay, pertaining to debt and all this other stuff. If the dollar is about to go on crisis, he was from Turkey. His name was Dr. Atisi. Okay, and if he's listening to me, I really don't care. All right, but he said this. He said when the dollar is about to go on crisis, and as far as the debt, if the debt crashes, not only that, the dollar is going to go on gold standard, which that's about to do right now. I know it's a couple of states that are proposing to put the dollar back on gold standard. But he said this, that America would use the oil in Iran to pay for his debt, but to pay for all the debt when that time comes. That stuck with me for a long time. Y'all think there's any truth to that? Inquiring minds want to know. Well, let me know what you think about the video, and peace.